I'm Emma, I'm 38, I'm a creative, what am I? I forgot what my job is, I was going to say creative director. I'm 38, I'm an entrepreneur with a tech startup living in South London. I'm good fun, I'm easygoing, I don't take myself too seriously, I'm really looking for the same in a man. Oh, and I probably should mention around 10 years ago I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. Interested? I started using online dating around 5 years ago when I became single for the first time since they'd really been around. And they were fun at first, I really enjoyed them, but then it just gradually over time became like a job to kind of keep them updated. And it's definitely a difficult, quite strange situation when you have a long-term health condition. Primarily, you have to be quite honest about who you are in them, because if people start to kind of like you, they get kind of caught up in your story, and then they discover that actually something you've told them isn't right, or you haven't told them something important. It felt like Parkinson's was important, so I've always put it on my dating profile since I started, really. It's at the bottom, it's not the first thing I say, but it's definitely on there, and I expect people to read it, and when they don't I get quite frustrated because I think I've put it there for a reason. And it's amazing the amount of people that don't read it properly and then get shirty with me, and I think, put it there, you didn't read it, it's up to you, that's your problem, not mine. It's the only way that I can sort of deal with that situation, by putting it up front and saying, this is what I'm coping with. And then people will kind of make the decision within the app whether they can handle that. It gives them a moment as well. It's maybe a moment of kindness for other people to kind of give them an opportunity to decide whether they like me enough to go through with it. I think the interesting thing about Parkinson's is even if you tell people you have it, a lot of people don't actually know what it is. And a lot of people have a nan who's had Parkinson's. And that's not so sexy. When you're kind of saying to someone, oh, you know, I'm this cool person, you should date me, giving them a reference which is something similar to their nan is not the best thing in my eyes for kind of getting that sort of romantic feeling kicked off. It's always really interesting the people that are cool about it and actually just go, yeah, it doesn't bother me, you know, you are who you are, we've all got our things going on, and often it surprises me who those people are, that actually are happy to say that and feel confident. I would sort of advise anyone really with the condition to be honest and to say something up front, but I just think it does open up all sorts of different challenges when you do. And it's kind of similar to telling work in a way, you know, do you want people to help you? Do you want people to kind of make decisions based on all the knowledge that they could possibly have? And I think that's what it boils down to for me. I'd rather someone have all the knowledge about what I'm coping with and actually make decisions based on that. Funny thing is, the qualities that I look for when I'm dating have actually sort of changed over time. It's very much, I often find it's quite a strange situation, but I often find that people who perhaps come from abroad, perhaps this is not naturally where they come from, are much more open about talking about Parkinson's. I'm not sure whether that's the kind of culture they've been brought up in, but as kind of as a culture, we're not great at talking about these stuff in the UK. Often I find that British men are quite sort of closed off about talking about this, or quite worried about it and don't want to say the wrong thing. Whereas often maybe like a, you know, beautiful Italian man will kind of slide in and basically say something very sort of very kind of open and honest, and actually that's incredible. And obviously it's a benefit that he's beautiful. Like, it's maybe more of like a, could someone carry me if it's necessary? It's come into the situation now. I do tend to kind of prefer men who are perhaps physically quite, I don't know what word to use, because chunky maybe. Let's go with chunky. They make them sort of gamified, so you end up playing a bit of a numbers game where you sort of swipe and swipe and swipe. But if I start talking to, say, like 10 men, 8 won't reply because it's Tinder or it's, you know, whatever else you're using, and people just don't reply. And then probably of the other 2, one will sort of wander off midway through the conversation. You might get a date with the other one. So I feel like it's a tricky thing because you don't know really sort of how, it's a lot of work. I'm an entrepreneur, I've not got time for this, I don't need another job. But actually, dating feels like another job sometimes. My friend who's also single refers to it as dating admin. And she kind of feels like she has to put things into like a funnel, like a sales funnel, to kind of get numbers out the other end, and you sort of do in a way. It's quite strange because I don't actually feel like I have any bad first dates or bad dates in general. It's just the fact that I tend to have a lot of first dates, which I think is quite a strange situation, because I think what happens is someone will come and meet me, and I'm you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a good date, I'm good fun, I'm chatty, I'm kind of a good drunk if I need to be, and don't tend not to spill my food all down myself if I'm being controlled, so I feel like I'm, you know, fairly fun date. But then there's that kind of like cooling off period where someone will go home and kind of in their life, or think about how I would fit into their life, I think is probably the best way of describing it. And they realise that I might not. And then so I often lose people at that sort of point between the first and second date. So I have a huge amount of first dates and not many second. And when I do get a second date, I get overexcited, which is really silly. But I think that's the really interesting thing about it, is the fact that people can almost kind of just have like second thoughts, which is, it's horrible. I don't want people thinking bad things of me when they meet me, but at least I'm a good first date, I guess. I get to meet some nice people for a first date, and then I just get friend zoned normally, or ghosted, so one or the other. But I've become quite resilient to it, I think. So my takeaways for first dates and dating apps would be, firstly, I would say be honest. It's actually done me well, I think, to actually be so open about my condition on my dating profile. It means I dodge that kind of awkwardness when I first meet someone and they don't know. And secondly, it's very easy when you've had a bit of a rubbish date recently to go into that next date with a new person with the same level of sort of fear or upset over what happened with the previous one. But I think that's kind of unfair, and actually you can sort of taint it and colour it. So I have to very much kind of put my big girl pants on and decide that I'm going to basically go out there and do it all again, and if it hurts, it hurts, and that's what I have to do. So I feel like try not to let that, any sort of past bad things or kind of horrible experiences or people that have kind of not really looked at you as you, try to kind of remove that and go into a date fresh. And I think you really have to let yourself be vulnerable. You have to feel the worst of things to feel the best of things. So it's definitely worth putting yourself out there and being open.
If you're interested in finding out more about Parkinson's, subscribe for a new video every Thursday.